Hi, and welcome to today's Daily Chronicle. Today is Friday, February 7th, 2025. Italian politicians allege Donald Trump Jr.'s hunting party killed a protected duck. Donald Trump Jr. speaks at a campaign rally November 5th, 2024, in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Rome. Donald Trump Jr. has angered Italian politicians who accuse his hunting crew of killing a rare duck. The president's eldest son appeared in a video posted on the website of Field Ethos, an outdoor adventure brand he co-founded, hunting in wetlands bordering Italy's Venice Lagoon. The footage shows Trump wearing camouflage, shooting birds out of the sky, and appearing beside a pile of dead birds. Experts identified one of the birds as a ruddy shelduck, a protected species in Europe. It's not clear from the video, which has since been removed from the site, who in the hunting party allegedly killed a protected duck. But the saga has set off what one Italian newspaper called the Donald Duck crisis. Green Party politicians in Italy's Veneto region are pressing for an investigation of Trump and his hunting party, saying killing a ruddy shelduck is a crime. Yesterday morning, before attending the meeting of the regional council in Venice, I filed a complaint with the forest police of Mestre, Venice, regarding the controversial hunting trip of Donald Trump Jr. in the Venice Lagoon, protected by the European Union. Regional legislator Andrea Zanoni with the Europe Green Party said in a Facebook post Wednesday. Another party member in Italy's lower house has also raised the issue with the country's environment minister. The Associated Press reported. Donald Trump Jr. did not reply to NPR's request for comment, but his spokesperson, Andy Serbian, told AP that Don takes following all rules, regulations, and conservation on his hunts very seriously and plans on fully cooperating with any investigation. Hunting is legal, but strictly regulated in Italy. Serbian said the group was hunting with permits in a legally permitted area. USAID unions sue Trump administration to halt unconstitutional and illegal cuts. In this photo illustration, a message appears on the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, website on February 5th. The Trump administration issued a directive late Tuesday night that all USAID direct hire personnel will be placed on administrative leave globally Friday at night. Amid global fallout over the blockage in funding and staffing for the United States Agency for International Development, senior staff submitted a list to State Department leadership of around 600 people whose work around the world they deemed essential could not be disrupted. But Secretary of State Marco Rubio approved less than 300 for exclusion from a broad policy that will put a large percentage of the 13,000 plus workforce on administrative leave by Friday at midnight. That's according to multiple sources who share copies of internal emails describing the forthcoming decision with NPR on the condition of anonymity. There is no bottom to this stupidity, said one USAID staffer who asked to speak anonymously for fear of reprisal from the Trump administration. Might as well shut it all down. 290 people won't be able to do anything, said the USAID official, who requested anonymity because they are not authorized to speak to the press. In the Middle East Bureau, in both Washington, D.C. and overseas, only 21 employees will be actively working at the end of the day on Thursday. The Africa Bureau will retain 12 people, 4 in Washington and 8 in regional hubs. The Global Health Bureau, currently staffed at 147 people and whose strategic priorities are to prevent child and maternal deaths, control the HIV/AIDS epidemic, and prevent the spread of infectious disease, will be reduced to 77 people. On Thursday evening, unions representing foreign service officers and federal employees at USAID sued the Trump administration to halt efforts to dismantle the agency and freeze foreign aid distribution. These actions have generated a global humanitarian crisis by abruptly halting the crucial work of USAID employees, grantees, and contractors. They have cost thousands of American jobs, and they have imperiled U.S. national security interests. The lawsuit, filed in Washington, D.C. federal court, said, the lawsuit argues only Congress can dissolve the agency and calls the Trump administration actions unconstitutional and illegal. The unions are asking the court to block efforts and shut down USAID's operations and put staff on leave, restore funding, and reopen the agency's office. The Secretary of State Marco Rubio gives a joint news conference with Dominican Republic President Luis Abinader at the National Palace in Santo Domingo, February 6. During a joint press conference with the President of the Dominican Republic, Rubio defended the Trump administration's actions and reiterated that employees overseas have options, including extending beyond the 30-day window to return to the U.S. due to extenuating circumstances. We're not trying to be disruptive to people's personal lives, Rubio said in Santo Domingo. We're not being punitive here. But this is the only way we've been able to get cooperation from USAID. I'd have preferred not to do it this way, he added. When we tried to do it from the top down by getting cooperation from the central office and USAID, what we found instead are people trying to use the system to sneak through payments and push through payments despite the stop order. We found people that were uncooperative in terms of giving us information and access. Still, at least 1,400 USAID employees have already lost access to their federal email accounts by Tuesday. And we were unsure of how they'd receive updates on the ongoing status of their employment, according to the USAID official who worried over the cuts. Another USAID staffer who provided access to an internal email and commented on the stupidity of the disruptions to the agency said that during a virtual staff meeting on Monday, people started leaving one by one as their access was cut off. It was like a horror film, they said. It's unclear how locally hired non-American employees in USAID overseas bureaus will be impacted by the ongoing reduction in the active workforce. The current administrative leave program appeared not to apply. Another USAID staffer who provided access to an internal email and commented on the stupidity of the disruptions of the agency said during a virtual staff meeting on Monday. People started leaving one by one as their access was cut off. It was like a horror film, they said. It's unclear how locally hired non-American employees in the USAID overseas bureaus will be impacted by the ongoing reduction in the active workforce. In the current administrative leave program appeared not to apply to locally employed staff. However, the same staffers who spoke to NPR about the emails explained that the USAID's foreign service officers are being instructed to focus only on their return home. While grant money is rapidly being eliminated, if local staff are removed, the staffers continued they could be impacted in their home countries, like Ukrainians who have been conscripted into military service if they are no longer doing relief work with USAID. Managers condemned the ongoing culling of the agency by the Trump administration in emails to employees on Thursday afternoon. In a message to the Middle East team, a senior official in the Middle East Bureau wrote that the risk to safety and security of staff and families to USG property, to the life-saving programs and activities we implement is unacceptably high. I counsel you to elevate your concerns directly to your chiefs of missions to alert them the risks they are taking on with the manner in which this drawdown is being carried forward. He continued, calling the reduction in force a stunning and irresponsible approach to the drawdown. Democratic members of Congress have said the White House does not have a legal authority to shut down USAID as an agency. However, by removing funding and shrinking active staff to the bare bones, the Trump administration could avoid congressional oversight that the Trump administration will still be issuing foreign assistance. The United States will be providing foreign aid, he said, but it is going to be foreign aid that makes sense and is aligned with our national interest. Member of Elon Musk's Doge team resigns after racist post resurface. A statue of Alexander Hamilton is seen outside the U.S. Department of Treasury building in a 2023 file photo. A staffer connected to Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency resigned on Thursday after now deleted racist social media posts were resurfaced. The resignation was confirmed by a White House official who was not authorized to speak publicly. Marco Elise, a 25-year-old software engineer, was working inside the Treasury Department to cut costs and root out fraud. As part of Musk's Doge effort, Elise was one of two temporary appointees at Treasury connected to Doge, who had been granted access to highly sensitive Treasury system that processes trillions of dollars in payments every year. The Wall Street Journal reported on a number of 2024 posts from an account connected to Elise on Musk's X platform, and noted that the White House officials confirmed his resignation after the paper pointed out Elise's activity on the social media site. "You could not pay me to marry outside of my ethnicity," the account wrote in September. "Normalize Indian hate," a separate post from that month read. In July of last year, the account posted, "Just for the record, I was racist before it was cool." In other posts from December, the account pushed for repealing the Civil Rights Act and shared, "I just want a eugenic immigration law. Is that too much to ask?" All of the posts have now been deleted, but NPR has independently confirmed them using the Internet's archive Wayback Machine, which scrapes and archives vast parts of the open web. Elise did not return NPR's request for comment. The resignation of Elise comes amid growing questions from lawmakers and former federal government employees about the dozens of staffers Musk has tapped to help him pursue aggressive cost trimmings, and in some cases attempt to dismantle entire agencies. As critics highlight legal and ethical issues surrounding Doge's seemingly unchecked pursuit of government austerity, Democrats in Congress are running into obstacles. A Democratic-led attempt to subpoena Musk about possible conflicts of interest over juggling his Doge role with 6 companies he operates was blocked by Republicans on Wednesday. Democratic senators are issuing blistering statements and writing letters to Musk's companies demanding answers, but such moves are unlikely to result in testimony in Washington, as long as Republicans hold a majority in both chambers. Elise's access to the Treasury payment system have raised alarms over whether sensitive data, including banking information of millions of Americans, is being shared with Musk and his allies. Two unions representing federal employees and an advocacy group representing retirees sued the Treasury Department, accusing it of violating federal privacy laws. Elise had recently been appointed a special government employee at the Treasury. The government told the federal judge hearing in the case this week that's a temporary appointment that allows the worker to perform limited services. A Justice Department lawyer said that Elise and another special employee at the Treasury connected to Doge, Tom Cross, had read-only access to the payment system and that no data was being shared outside the agency, including with Musk's White House-based Doge team. On Thursday, the judge issued an order temporarily barring the Treasury from giving access to the payment system to anyone outside the department. Bon appetit. Dog treats from lab-grown meat are hitting the UK market. Pets at Home in Southend, UK, is one retailer to be selling dog treats made from lab-grown meat. In London last summer, the United Kingdom became the first country in Europe to legalize lab-grown meat, starting with pet food. On Friday, it will hit the shelves. The manufacturer is called Meatly. Its product is called Chick Bites, a type of dog treat. But Chick Bites are made without ever involving a chicken. Instead, cells taken from one chicken egg are cultivated in a lab. And then, combined with plant-based ingredients, the company says the result is just as tasty and nutritious as traditional chicken breast. Meatly, based in London, calls itself the first company in the world to supply cultivated meat for pet food. It claims its single sample from egg cells multiplied in a lab is capable of producing enough protein to feed pets forever. Cultivated meat, sometimes called no-kill meat, is seen as more ethical and environmentally friendly. Although the cultivated meat industry does contribute to CO2 emissions, given that its production facilities rely on electricity. Compared to traditional beef farming, making cultivated meat uses 45% less energy if it's manufactured is powered with renewables. It can emit up to 92% less greenhouse gases, use 95% less land, and 78% less water. According to estimates by the European Environment Agency. Beef production, a top source of methane emissions, and an activity that requires large areas of grazing land, has environmental impact far greater than that of a chicken production. In 2023, the U.S. Department of Agriculture approved the sale of lab-grown meat for human consumption in the United States. Singapore and Israel have also approved it. No European Union has done so. Austria France and Italy have all large concerns with the EU, and no country in the world has approved lab-grown meat for pets except the UK. Chick bites come in the pale blue resealable plastic pack with a cartoon dog waving a flag that says "Puptivists Changing the World." In an email to NPR, Meatly CEO owner Owen Enzer said chick bites are on sale for about $3.49 a pound, or about $4.35 a pack. That's in the middle price range for dog treats for sale on the website of Pets at Home, the UK pet supply retailer that's slated to begin selling chick bites on Friday. Around 20% of all the meat that is consumed by higher pet-owning nations, and that would include the UK, is actually consumed by pets, not people. Andrew Knight, professor of veterinary science at the University of Winchester, told the BBC, "When people talk about the environmental impact of meat, Knight said they've always been focusing on human diets. Actually, pets are a really big part of this picture as well," he said. In 2022 survey by UK researchers published by the PLOS ONE journal found that 32% of respondents said they were willing to eat cultivated meat themselves. As much higher percentage, 47.3%, said they were willing to feed it to their pets. Even though Austria has not approved lab-grown meat for consumption, human or pet, the Vienna-based company called BioCraft Pet Nutrition says it is cultivating mouse, rabbit, and chicken meat in lab because cats and dogs absolutely love them. Whether that is true won't be clear until these products reach their intended market.